let me introduce our next speaker. She is the First Lady of Virginia. There'll be no mistaking who's who in a second. Susan is actually from here, and George Allen, we call it the Thomas Jefferson seat, but of course it was also the George Allen seat. Let's have a warm welcome for our hometown girl, Susan Allen.
Thank you, Rob, and thanks for all you do in the General Assembly. Y'all are lucky to have Rob Bell. He's one of the best. Anybody recognize this bumper sticker? Wahoos for Allen. We've got Hokies for Allen too, but I think there are probably a few more Wahoos here. And thank you for supporting George Allen, and we want to make sure that we have a Wahoo serving in the Senate. So we're going to ask you to work really hard for 11 more days to get George Allen over the victory line on November 6th. It's really great to be home. This is like many a night I remember in Earlysville, just over the way here when George and I lived in a log house. Yes, we really did live in a log house. Some of you here remember that. Life was good, and I called him Mr. Adventure, and I never knew the twists and turns that our life would take. But I always knew that he had this great conviction about what was right and how to lift the spirit of those around him. He did that when he was governor, and he was hired on as governor by Virginians with a really big agenda. He wanted to make sure our communities were safe. He abolished parole. He wanted to make sure our students were learning things and that our high school degrees meant something. He raised our standards in education. He wanted to make sure higher ed was affordable. And by the way, he froze college tuition all 4 years. And by the end of his term in office as governor, over 300,000 net new jobs had been created. Well, he does deserve a hand. Well, here we are. Our country's at a crossroads. We're worried about jobs. We're worried about the economy. We're worried about how we're going to fuel our businesses and our homes. Y'all can't heat everything with a log, like we did in the log house with a wood stove. But our country really needs fixing. And George is anxious to go and work for Virginians one more time in Washington. He knows that what he hears on the trail every single day resonates not just in Earlysville and Albemarle County and Charlottesville, but throughout the Commonwealth. You know, I was at a coal rally Sunday night, 7,000 people on top of a mountain in Grundy, Virginia. As I walked through the crowd after I got off the stage, there was one sad tale after another. The mom who said, my daughter's going to have to shut her shop down because she's selling uniforms to the miners. The dad who said, my son was just laid off, he doesn't know what else to do, and there's no construction job down the road. The woman who said, my husband's been laid off for 3 months, and I work at the bank, and we're not sure the bank's going to stay open because nobody has any money, and we don't know what we're going to do with it. That's reality. And it's all because this administration is no friend to any type of energy that we have out there, and we need somebody to go to the Senate and make sure that we can use our own coal, explore off of our coast, use every resource possible, because we've got to fuel families and we've got to fuel jobs here in America, because this is America and we can do it. We've got the technology and the willpower. You know, when you come back home, you like to see your old friends. And I know I have a couple of girlfriends who are here tonight. And I bet some of you guys are hearing what I'm hearing around the Commonwealth. Aren't you tired of these ads where they're trying to scare us? Trying to make it sound like our candidates aren't right on the issues? We know this election's about jobs, the economy, energy, and saving our military. And some of you might remember that George Allen helped with the Rape Crisis Center when he was here. As governor, he mandated that mammograms be used by all of our insurance companies, that they be covered. So if you all are like my other girlfriends around the Commonwealth, you're not believing these ads because you know what's right. We need a senator who's going to fight for us to make sure we have jobs for ourselves, our husbands, our boyfriends, our families, our young people who are graduated from college. This is a campaign about jobs in Virginia and jobs in America. And our dear Senator Bryce Reeves, who did such a wonderful job acknowledging our veterans who are here. Thank you all for your service. As the daughter of a Marine pilot, I know what families go through. And I know how hard you work at serving our country. And it's such a wonderful, wonderful thing that people are still willing to serve. But what's happening now in Washington with sequestration, the downsizing of our military, taking our Navy back to the size it was at the end of World War I, will not make us any safer. And we've got to have people going to the Senate to say the federal government's number one responsibility is national defense, and we've got to fund the men and women who are fighting every day to protect us. George Allen wants to fight for you all. I'm asking you to help me get him elected. Just 11 more days to go. 11 more days, and we're going to see this great American comeback with Mitt Romney in the White House, Paul Ryan as vice president, Ann Romney as first lady, by the way. Doesn't that seem great? With a wonderful House, with leaders like Robert Hurt, who actually passed bill after bill after bill that make America stronger, that gets stopped in the U.S. Senate. But the way we're going to break that logjam is by sending George Allen to the U.S. Senate on November 6th. So ladies and gentlemen, friends and neighbors, all of you, I want to thank you now and thank you for all you're going to do in the next 11 days to send my favorite friend, George Allen, to the U.S. Senate. God bless all of you and God bless America.